Ah, sweet life-giving nectar. But hey, beforehand, let's go on ahead and just break this down real quick. Before we get started with anything else, I just have to let you all know, full disclosure, I fucking hate Lilias. Lilias is a character that I hate. I'm not a big fan of this art style. I'm not a fan of this design. But let's actually try her out and see if she's any good. So, is Midnight GaLilias good? Well, she kind of works. Like, that's probably the most negative thing I can really say about her. So, let's break this down. We're fighting Apocalypse Ravi, Ran, and Senya. So here, I'm going to go in with a Magic Scholar Doris to strictly bait the A Ravi, the Destina for any and all cleanses that I might need, as well as an Anchor for revives if necessary. And we're also going in with Midnight GaLilias. So, what we decide to do first, we don't actually know what the HP value of the Senya is. I could check it in post, but honestly, I'm too damn tired to check that right now. But it did just a little bit barely around half, which is the big thing that kind of feels so bad about her. Now, what does she do? She is basically Huiyang, except for the fact that she also needs crit damage and speed a little bit more importantly than Huiyang does. Huiyang literally needs, like, well, before, like, all she needed was 4 stats. It was, like, what? Low HP, high attack, speed, and defense for the sake of, like, surviving from turn to turn. Here with Lilias, if you're not going into anything that can strip you, you're not going into anything that is going to even really hurt you unless it's through, like, a AoE attack or anything like that, she shouldn't ever die. Like, it just shouldn't happen, because she has damage limit on her kit that's always going to be with her at almost all times. And the good thing really about her is she feels like that kind of... she almost feels like a safe Stenny kind of pick, especially in my case because I have Wind Rider on her. So, like, hey, if I manage to kill something, I'm going to have stealth. But, like, it's not exactly the same, because the damage is so wildly random, and as well as this as well, you probably noticed that I'm soul burning here and there on Midnight GaLilias. That was all a mistake on my part, because I thought that soul burn gives you more damage. No, it gives you more recovery, so, like, don't be fooled by that shit. It's fucking garbage. But here, on to the next fight here, it's basically just a full team of lights, and like I say in the post here, if you have one DC unit, and you have good sustain, aka 2 good healing units that will pretty much prevent you from being killed, and all the lights are going into your DC, well, you just fucking win for free. I'm just going to save you 3 minutes, and we'll just skip this fight, because there's no reason to watch it. Clearly not me just, like, editing and post from the fact that, like, all of my S3s from our Dark Corvus didn't kill in one shot, and it just, like, you know, dragged the whole fight down. But hey, let's just move on. So now we're fighting some more Conqueror Lilias Cancer. It's pretty typical shit. Conqueror Lilias Mercedes and Apocalypse Ravi. So what I wanted to do was, we'll have one unit that's going to be tanking for the Conqueror Lilias, that case being Shadow Knight Pyllis here. We thankfully have enough ER to where we don't really get affected by her. And then we have Sylvan Sage Vivian, strictly because I was a little afraid to bring Spirit Eye Celine. The biggest reason why I was afraid to bring Spirit Eye Celine was because I was afraid, like, any and all, like, random attacks going into her would just kill her. But, I mean, in all honesty, it's not too scary if you have a Roana with you, because any counters that come in through onto your Spirit Eye Celine is pretty much going to put you at full health every single time. So maybe I just wanted to do something a little bit different. It's kind of bad that, you know, I'm the one who did this shit, and I can't even fucking give you a proper answer as to what my fucking strategy was. But hey, you know, sometimes whenever you're, like, you know, it's Friday, you're trying to enjoy your weekend because you've been overworked for 3 fucking weeks, and you just kind of want to chill. Yeah, that's kind of what happens. You kind of forget what the fuck you were doing. We'll just go with that. But either way, the big thing that we're going to really be doing is we're using Rocket Punch Shadow Knight Pyllis to basically just go into the Mercedes until the Mercedes is dead, and then we'll just rely on the tankability of our Sylvan Sage. That was probably the most risky moment of the entire run right there. Thankfully, we didn't die, and because we've gotten through that part, we're also able to do the big damage to the Mercedes. She's now no longer with us. So now we should have a positive of focus on our Sylvan Sage Vivian. Why is that important? The big reason why is because if you ever run out of focus on your Sylvan Sage Vivian, she's a sitting duck and she's fucking useless. Which is pretty much why, like, if you ever see as a Hawk, there's possibly a good chance that he's going to be on resource reduction. Maybe. I mean, hey, it's a lot of work to remember that shit. And hey, shoutouts to getting good RNG dual attacks. Yo, SG, let's go ahead and just get that shit out of the game. 3%'s fucking retarded. It seems to happen a little too frequently for how retarded dual attacks are. Especially considering there's so many goddamn units in this game that just do it for free. Because LOL, Conqueror Lilias never gonna be fucking beaten. Just so broken. Crazy unit. Surely SG isn't going to, like, utterly fuck us over with another unit that's gonna be more broken than all the other ones.
Deeper your despair.
Yeah. That's happening, isn't it? Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. So we're gonna be... Yeah, you guys know how fucking everyone hates Lua? Well, hey, what if we released another character that's, like, just like her, except better in every way and with less counters? Wow, that's, like, a really good fucking idea! Give this guy a raise! Holy shit! And hey, that match is over. So let's move on ahead and go into the actual, like, important stuff here. So here's some more Midnight GaLilias stuff. So she's going to take the first hit from the Zeo here. Now, the surprising part is I don't have damage limit anymore because I got stripped. Because, you know, I'm a retard and I forgot that Zeo did that shit. But the attack from the Roana actually didn't kill me. Very, very surprised by that. So naturally, I'll bring her up and let's do a big hit into... the Navy Captain Landy. So here's where, like, a lot of the depression can really start to set in. That did not do half health, which is a huge fucking factor. Well, actually, it just barely did. So you're probably already seeing where I'm going with this. A lot of times when you're going into this kind of shit, you're not going to be doing that half health, that half damage that you need. Because that's the other thing you need to activate her S2 passive, like the non-attack skill, that then gives attack buff to the whole team and like the CR boost. You would be surprised how often you're actually not going to get that, which is why I can only say if you're a mad simp for Midnight GaLilias and you want to see success with her, the only thing that you can really do is only go into units that you know will work. So those units in question are anything that functions off of HP scaling. Because you can pretty much guarantee what they're going to have is, oh, they're going to have like really bloated HP stats. So you could pretty much make the assumption that if you see a shoe on the team, Midnight GaLilias will one-tap that bitch. 100%. The only thing that's really going to probably stop you is if you're dealing with damage mitigation. Case in point right here, but not really a case in point situation. You're dealing with Deify and he doesn't have a lot of HP, so it's not going to do a lot of damage. But we'll see more of this later on whenever we get further down the line. And also just if you play with her in general, like one thing I thought for sure she would fight very well is Ikarina. Fuck no. Ikarina's defense is way too damn high and her HP values are way too fucking random. So you're just kind of like wasting a turn going into her. Pretty unfortunate. But hey, we were able to get through that fight. It was pretty simple. Whatevs. I'm probably not talking about this a whole lot. I'm kind of recovering from Midnight GaLilias depression. Hence why I have my alcohol in hand. But either way, let's go ahead and look at this next fight here. So this is something I've used a fair number of times. Once again, this is my anti-Ran, Senya, and then like another red unit team. So let's just say, for example, this is like not Mercedes and it was Lilias. It's like 100% it works on it. Now, the only thing that's really kind of stopping you from having a 100% win rate is, let's just say the Ran was, like, thick, or you didn't have enough damage on yourself to kill the Ran in your initial counterattack S2 spam, that is the Order of Operations, Edward Elric, and the Rimuru attack going into the other team. Now, if that happens, then it's a matter of you're dealing with RNL, you're dealing with possible, like, Magic for Friends, you're dealing with, like, possible Lilias if that was on the team, you know, shit like that. Otherwise, if you kill the Ran on, like, the opening turn, you're pretty much free to go into whoever you wish with your remaining attacks. I decided to go into the Mercedes. Main reason why is because I don't want to see Magic for Friends. Killed her really quick, and then I just, you know, deleted the Senya because she had Provoke on her. So here's the final match. Case in point, first thing I immediately made a very bad decision on. While this is happening, I'm not looking at the HP value of the Conqueror Lilias. It would be really, really amazing if we knew HP values of units as we were going into them. This is the biggest reason as to why, like, Hui Young feels bad to use, Midnight GaLilias feels really bad to use is because unless you have information or you have like protection for the unit, stuff like that, you are taking massive risks bringing those units in. Case in point, instead of bringing Midnight GaLilias into this, if I just brought a second healer, this is 100% free. The reason why it's free is because then you would have a cleanser unit for the Dark Corvus so you don't get provoke locked, and then you can just straight up go into the Adin, because the Adin's the only unit that's going to be doing really, really big damage. Like, for example, I could just probably throw, like, a fucking Roana onto this as well, and then every attack that the Navy Captain Landy's going to do is just going to pretty much fill me to full. Like, it's really that damn simple. Now, this looks really, really fucking bad. And a lot of this is because I didn't see that initial thing of what I should have done, which is go into the Conqueror Lilias immediately with Midnight GaLilias. This is where, like, I then correct my mistake, because I then notice how much HP that she has, which was like 23 fucking thousand, which is really, really high for a Conqueror Lilias. You would kind of expect it to be like 17, like 15 to like 18, something like that, if they're going to be really fast as fuck. Either way, that's just kind of like how you deal with it. So we go in with Dark Corvus after we brought him back. We kill the Savior Adin. I continue to make the mistake of thinking that Soul Burning on Midnight GaLilias does more damage. It does not. The only thing that it does is it just gives you more HP back, which then makes it a very, very shitty Soul Burn. Like, holy fuck. It should just do damage. That would make sense. It would be good in that case, but, like, no. It's pretty much a fucking terrible dog shit soul burn. I do not recommend ever using it. So we were able to take a metric shitload of damage in this way, and we have attack down on us right here, so we're going to be doing even less damage. So thus, we do not one-tap the Conqueror Lilias. If we were able to kill her right then and there is still a possibility of winning, provided that the Navy Captain Landy doesn't high roll too many times on you. Because if you're able to weather like that little tiny bit of a storm going into Navy Captain Landy, and you're able to, you know, like kill all the other shit, and you're just kind of 1v1ing, Midnight GaLilias is actually kind of fucking terrifying if you're 1v1ing, because you'll have a very, very hard time killing her. But all in all, like, using her, let's go ahead and, because this is my first time actually using her. So what's the big thing with Midnight GaLilias? Well, I would, putting aside my own biases and like how much I actually hate the character Lilias, how much I do not like the story for the unit itself, I don't like this particular character arc. I don't like any of the shit. Like I have not been secretive at all about my hatred of Lilias in general as a character. I fucking hate that bitch. But the best thing that ever happened to Lilias was during fucking episode 2 when Charles showed up and just beat the ever-loving shit out of her and then just fucking walked away. That was the best part of the whole fucking story in episode 2. But hey, we're not here to talk about lore. Let's go in and talk about the unit. So what's the big thing that's like kind of wrong with her? The big thing that's wrong with her is if you do not have information, or if you just want to slam her, like just go in ahead and slam her, you'll have problems because what you're usually going to be fighting on defense is probably some damage mitigation horse shit. So if you fight damage mitigation, you're kind of forced to go into the damage mitigation unit, and then that kind of like kills your one turn with her, so then you have to like, you know, wrap around to go into the other units, and you're more than likely dealing with some fucking strip unit or some other bullshit like that. So then it just feels bad to use. Now, one thing you could do with her in general, because I'm actually using her for PvE, she does a shitload of damage against high HP value targets. So I've actually been using her in Katie's. But the other big thing that you can do with her is you can cleave with her. She works pretty well with Ahmed and Commander Pavel because of just how it works. But hey, you know what? I've already run out of time. Time to drink some more alcohol. If you guys like my content, go ahead and leave a like. If you want to see more of my content, hit subscribe. Sip, sip.